So the second day of Packers training camp just ended, so I want to go over everything that reporters were sharing from this Packers practice. And during practice, it looked like there was a downpour for a while earlier in practice, and it let up a little bit later. And just to start off this video, Jordan Love still not practicing. We have not gotten any update when it comes to the progress between the contract talks with Jordan Love and the Packers. I shared earlier today in a live stream, if you guys caught that one, the Packers have released long snapper Peter Bowden to sign quarterback Jacob Eason, who has been in the NFL a few years, has only played in 2 games. But just with Jordan Love not practicing, the Packers needed another arm there at training camp. So I don't think it's a big deal. We just don't know how long it's going to take for the Packers and Love to get a deal done. We really just don't know what they're trying to figure out right now. So time will tell, and I'll keep you guys updated as always. So make sure your notifications are on so you don't miss any Packers news. Now getting to these reporters here, and this is all from Twitter. First off, from Andy Herman says this: the rain has let up a bit. Takeaways from first team period. Evan Williams, not Bullard, starting with defense. So yesterday, for the first time since Javon Bullard was drafted to the Packers, he was starting with Xavier McKinney on the defense. During both OTAs and mandatory minicamp, 7th rounder Anthony Johnson Jr. from a year prior's draft had been starting there. He had more experience, and Bullard, being a rookie, did not get the opportunity there to start. But yesterday, Bullard was starting with Xavier McKinney, so I assumed it would stay that way and he would hold off that spot, or hold that spot until the season came around. But today, second day, Evan Williams, who's a Packers 4th round safety out of Oregon, got the start over Javon Bullard. So not sure it means anything. Maybe they're just trying out some other guys. I would still assume with Bullard's draft, with him being drafted in round 2 and his talent, his skill, I assume he'll be the Packers starting safety alongside Xavier McKinney once the season actually comes around. Then Andy Herman continues, still Stokes opposite Jair. Enagbare, 2 sacks, but also had a penalty for lining up offsides. Watson struggling to hold on to the ball today. Important to remember, it was raining. No new injury updates. Sean Ryan, and Jordan Morgan rotating at right guard. Yesterday, we saw the starting Packers offensive line. First rounder Jordan Morgan was not lining up with the starters. He came in and subbed in for Sean Ryan at right guard, and it looks like that's what happened here today. It doesn't say if Ryan started out. I would assume he did, but Ryan and Morgan, rotating at right guard. Then finally from Herman, Jonathan Ford had a sack. He's looked better. Then from Wes Hodkwitz, safeties Evan Williams and Anthony Johnson Jr. pick off Clifford in team. So Sean Clifford not having a great day. I do think that the rain is probably something to do with it, but you will see the theme through all of these tweets that this Packers defense was absolutely dominating today. And considering, Jeff Hafley coming in to be this defensive coordinator, that's the one area. If the Packers defense can become a top unit consistently this season, then this Packers team is going to be pretty hard to stop, just because we've seen the heights that this offense can get to. And the question is, can the defense get to that kind of level? And if they do, watch out. Then here from Paul Brettel, he says, again, really impressed with the push up the middle from the defensive front. 2 good days so far for Van Ness. So Lucas Van Ness, first rounder from last year's draft, coming into year 2. He played a good amount last year. I think he had some solid flashes of play, and so far, looking good. Then from Andy Herman, 2 deep attempts for downfield from Clifford incomplete. 1 to Musgrave. McDuffie was in coverage, and then 1 to Romeo Dobbs. Carrington Valentine was in coverage. Then Enagbare, sack number 3. So Kingsley Enagbare, JJ Enagbare having a big day today. 3 sacks. Been a tough start to camp for Dillard. So Andre Dillard was brought in this offseason. He was a former first-round pick. I believe it was 2019, if I'm not mistaken. He had a tough year last year. I think it was with the Titans. So far in camp, he is not playing great, and I wouldn't be shocked if, once Zach Tom comes back and is fully healthy playing here, he should be starting at right tackle. Zach Tom, that is. Then for Matt Schneidman, D-line getting pressure again today. Rashawn Gary isn't even in, and he's going nuts. Just hyped up Enagbare and then stared down Andre Dillard in the O-line group as he walked from the middle of the field all the way back to the sideline. Couldn't tell if he was still chirping. So Rashawn Gary getting excited there even though he's not playing. And then Andy Herman says that the energy on this defense is totally different. And that is something you love to hear, because while at times, I think that this Packers defense last year had some solid energy, playing hard, playing tough. I just think being led by Joe Barry, the passive approach this defense took during Barry's tenure here as the defensive coordinator, it seems, at least in the first 2 days, that this defense is playing a lot better, playing Andy Herman saying that they have a lot more energy than they have in times past. Not in times past, but he's saying they have a ton of energy today on this defense, which is different. So basically saying that. So that's great to hear for the Packers defense, and I think that you just listen to Hafley talk in different press conferences he's done, and you just sort of hear about his time in college and how he likes to operate defenses. He seems like he's super aggressive, likes to bring a lot of blitzes, switch things up like that, and it's no surprise that seems to be translating to the way that this defense is playing. So that is good news. Then from Andy Herman, Carlson 3 for 3, now 6 of 6 on the day. Greg Joseph 3 of 3, now 5 of 6 on the day. So through 2 days, Anders Carlson 6 of 6, love to hear it. Greg Joseph brought in this offseason from the Vikings, 5 of 6, and then Turner 4 of 6. So Carlson having the best performance so far, perfect on his field goals, and that's a competition to watch at kicker. Then from Andy Herman, Rashawn all over a Jacobs run. Rashawn is so bleep violent at the point of attack. No idea how Rashid's just contained him. Rashawn and Preston force a throwaway. This defensive line has been relentless. Offensive line has been a struggle. Clifford uses hard count to get defense to jump, but throws a duck right into the ground. I'm sure wet ball playing a factor. So on the one hand, it's good news the defensive line is dominating because we hope to see that this season. On the other hand, this is the starting offensive line. Important to remember, Zach Tom is still not practicing in these team periods, and so because of that, this offensive line is much different in that respect. So, but still, defensive line playing really, really well, especially Rashawn Gary. No surprise there. Ryan Wood says, A.J. Dillon just showed some impressive burst, sprinting through opening up the middle to break off a long run. Worth monitoring when the pads get strapped. Matt LaFleur was very high in the Packers running back this morning. Yeah, if you haven't watched Matt LaFleur's press conference from this morning, you definitely should. It's always interesting to hear his thoughts. I think he does a press conference, or he has so far most days, or he has for the past 2 days for training camp. He's done a press conference. In years past, I believe he does it most days as well. So check that out. He does talk about A.J. Dillon and how it's the best he's basically ever looked. And I think with A.J. Dillon, getting that really cheap contract here in Green Bay, he had to be motivated to come back and take things to another level, because I feel like as a rookie, we saw a lot more explosiveness and burst from him, and he's had some nice moments over the years, but overall has not been really great. He's been okay, so hopefully he can take that step, and he may have a chance to win that number 2 job, especially right now. Marshawn Lloyd, third rounder, is dealing with a hip injury, and so Dillon has a chance to be that number 2 back. Then from Andy Herman, Valentine's second pass breakup of the day. He's off to a very nice start to camp. So far at cornerback, Eric Stokes has been starting alongside Jair Alexander on the outside, but Carrington Valentine, definitely competition for Eric Stokes, and so we'll see if Valentine keeps having a solid camp. Maybe he pushes himself ahead of Eric Stokes. We'll keep an eye on that one. Andy Herman, Andre Dillard has no shot at blocking Rashawn Gary, just a massive mismatch. Gary with another sack, and Rashawn Gary follows it up with another sack, just unstoppable. So Andre Dillard not having a good day. He wasn't great last year in Tennessee, and I really doubt that Dillard starts on this Packers offensive line. Zach Tom's going to be the right tackle, probably, unless, there's a chance Zach Tom is the right tackle. As we've talked about, there's so many different things the Packers could do on the O-line, moving Tom to guard or Jordan Morgan to tackle. So we'll keep an eye on it. From what we've seen so far, it doesn't sound to me like Dillard is going to win a starting job here in Green Bay. Then Matt Schneidman says, Edgerrin Cooper flying down the middle and reaches in front of Christian Watson for a pass breakup on a short pass from Clifford. And anytime you see, a rookie, especially Edgerrin Cooper, who I think is expected to become that starting linebacker next to Quay Walker because of where he was drafted in round 2, it's just nice to see him, making some nice plays, and we'll keep an eye if he can, push himself up there to be that starter, which I would assume him and Javon Bullard, both second-rounders, will end up starting. And this is the final one of the day. Andy Herman, Lucas Van Ness getting some work inside on an obvious pass down with the 2s. The offense can't do anything at all right now. The defense is completely and utterly dominating. So that is interesting. Lucas Van Ness on the inside. I guess the Packers, they want to try a lot of different things out there. And I mean, Lucas Van Ness, his size, his speed, that is going to be interesting to see if they can, how much they want to play him there on the inside. Because imagine, Rashawn Gary, Lucas Van Ness, Kenny Clark, Preston Smith. This is a pretty stacked defensive line, I would say. Then I think there's actually one more tweet here to end it off. And it is from Paul Brettel, who says this: second practice is a wrap, and it finally stopped downpouring for the last 30 minutes. Offense doing push-ups because the defense, particularly the defensive line, dominated the day. So a big day by the defense. Of course, Sean Clifford has been the starter, and we're still waiting on Jordan Love to get that deal done so he can be out here practicing. But honestly, when it comes to the defense, that's the question. Can Jeff Hafley take this defense to another level? And from the sounds of it so far, things are going, moving in the right direction. So those are the updates from day 2. You want day 3 updates, make sure you have those post notifications turned on. That way, the second I make a video, then you'll get notified right away, and you can check out the news from the Packers. You can also follow me on Twitter, LukeBeller3, for some more Packers content. I share stuff there occasionally as well. And so sometimes I can get it out quicker there than YouTube because obviously it's just a short tweet as opposed to posting a whole video, editing it, all that kind of stuff. So thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.